All right, let me jump into our teaching tonight. We got a lot of things to do, and want to share with you guys why bees swarm in the fall. Wow. A lot of you feel like, it won't happen. Maybe I had some swarms in the spring, and I don't think bees are going to swarm this late in the year. Bees know better. No, they don't actually, but they don't. I've had my share of swarms in the fall. I think last year I had 2 or 3 swarms in the fall because, hey, you're not really checking swarm cells in the fall. You're just thinking about mite control, harvesting honey. In the spring, we're all on red alert, right? But boy, it can happen in the fall. Let me show you this video right here. Look at this video of swarming in the fall. All right, I think this is in the spring, but it gives you an idea if you've never seen a swarm. Look at this. Isn't that crazy? Now keep watching. Look at all the bees. They're boiling out. Look how many are in the air. Poor Sheri out there. Look at all the bees in the air from a swarm, right? Oh my gosh, that is crazy. So a lot of people wonder about orientation flights when all the bees start doing a similar, activity like that. But it's not a swarm because in that video, bees were rushing out of the entrance. In a orientation flight, there'll be a lot of bees, but the majority will be facing the hive. Just look. Are they leaving and going away from the hive? Or are they flying out and then facing back and looking at the hive? They're taking an orientation flight. They do this at 3 or 4 in the afternoon, and it can be alarming if you're new to beekeeping. So if you think it won't happen to you, it might. Now, what's the difference first before we get started between absconding and swarming? Well, absconding, that's the word we use when all the bees leave, all of them, even the queen. You go out there, there's nothing left. There might be 2 or 3 bees in there, but not many at all. They've all left. That's different from swarming. Swarming is when half of the colony leaves and they leave with their queen. Even though they're raising new queens, they don't swarm typically with a virgin queen unless those are after swarms. Occasionally, after the major swarm with their old queen, they do have a few after swarms with virgin queens. It's basically bees following the virgin out on a mating flight, but you have that. So swarming, good news for those of you that will experience it. Good news is it always means you have a very strong colony. You can pat yourself on the back and say, I did it. I've got a very strong colony. And there they go. Goodbye. They're headed for the trees. Seriously, a weak, sick, suffering colony will rarely swarm like that. Okay. They can, but it's really rare. All right. So now that we know the difference, let's talk about absconding. Can happen in the fall. Now, bees we'll get into swarming in a second, but in the fall, you might think you see your bees are swarming. They may be absconding. The only difference is you'll have to look in the hive and see if anybody's left. Okay. If they've all left, they've absconded. This can be caused by a heavy infestation of small hive beetle where they start sliming, the larvae start sliming the comb. It is so gross. If you've never had small hive beetle that has slimed your hive, made a lot of larvae, it's disgusting. Smells bad, looks bad. You will be sadly disappointed if that happens. So keep those guys under control. Sometimes in the fall, they can abscond if they are a very stressed colony. Again, if they have high mite infestations, they can also abscond. Maybe I said swarmed earlier, but I'm talking about absconding now. Or if there's an irritant. I don't know what that irritant would be. I'm not a honeybee, but I would think if I was a honeybee and I had a strong irritant, either a varmint or something noisy, loud, I couldn't carry on normal life activity on a daily basis, I'm leaving. I'm getting out of Dodge. So again, it may look like a swarm, but when they all leave, they are absconding. Now, why in the world do bees swarm in the fall? I just want to say hello to everybody coming into the live stream. Welcome. Come on in. We are going to be giving away a sting stopper bee suit, full suit, triple layer ventilated suit in just a minute. So come on in and settle down. Nice to have you. So why do bees swarm in the fall? Same reason they swarm in the spring. There's no difference, except the only difference is they're limited in how much time they have to get ready for winter. That's the difference. They don't know, a bee doesn't really know winter's coming like we do. We have calendars, we have experience. Bees only live 45 days. We've been around the block. We've been around the sun a few times. We know what's going on with winter coming, right? Bees don't know that. Anyway, if they're heavily crowded, look at this picture of one of my hives. You can't even see the top bar frames. They're just, I mean, they're too crowded, right? So that's a potential for a fall swarm right there. Now you would think, oh, I thought we were supposed to build our bees up, get ready for winter, have lots of bees. It's a delicate balance, people. I know. You can't overwinter with a small colony. They're going to get too cold, not enough bees to stay warm. But if you get them very, very crowded, and there's things like an autumn fall flow, that can be a reason that bees might swarm. Now, they swarm because they have a reproductive instinct. Obviously, you have an instinct that if your house fills up, if you keep having children and your house gets too full and you've got 20 kids in there and they're all sharing 3 bedrooms, you're on the market to buy a bigger house. Or you wish you could. Now the bees are the same way. They have an instinct to reproduce, to make another colony by swarming. That's when half of the colony stays behind and half of them leave with the old queen. And they're going to leave with a mated queen. They're not leaving with a virgin queen. Some of you don't know that or haven't heard that. I get asked that a lot. They will leave with your established mated laying queen. That's why you see swarm cells. Those are new queens that will stay back, get mated and stay back. One of them will stay back. So abundant fall flow, like if you have a crazy fall flow in your area, and if it's really warm, if you have a really warm fall, warm, heavy nectar flow, reproductive instinct, crowded hive, could have the potential to swarm. It is less likely than in the spring, but there is still probably a 20% chance, depending on where you live and the climate, that your bees may swarm in the fall. Now, preventing swarms. Well, this is what we have to do, friends. We have to check for swarm cells. That is miserable to do in the fall, because when you're looking in the fall, you've got a full-size colony, right? You've got 50,000 bees. And sometimes in the spring, they're building up out of winter, and they're not as large in population yet. A little more leadway there on the population. But boy, in the fall, it is tough. You usually got some honey supers on there. You might have robbing situations going on if there's not a nectar flow, and you got to go in there and carefully look through at least 10 or maybe 20 frames of brood to see if you see a queen cell, a swarm cell developing. I get it. That's my least favorite thing to do. And I don't like it either. But I also don't want to lose a colony. And we'll talk about what happens if you do lose them, if they'll survive the winter in just a minute. So another way that you can help reduce your swarming tendency in the fall is that you can keep a strong queen in there. Sometimes it's genetics. Bees are more genetically wired to swarm, but also it can be that if the queen doesn't have strong queen mandibular pheromones, that getting back to her, that can trigger a swarm too. And that can take place in the fall. If you have an old queen with low, we call it QMP, a queen mandibular pheromone being spread around, the hive could swarm as well. But again, you got to keep the hive strong. They can swarm if they're kind of, suffering from mites or small hive beetle or something. They can abscond and swarm. So keep all that in check. Now, will your hive survive the winter if they do indeed swarm on you? So in other words, if they swarm, half of the population is cut in half. You're going to go from a 50,000 member colony down to 25,000 bees left behind. 25,000 bees, to put it in perspective, is about 2 packages. Roughly a package is 10,000 bees. a 3-pound package. And so you're going to be reduced in half. So will that colony survive? It depends on where you live, how cold it is. It depends on a lot of things, really. It depends on the overall health of the colony. Obviously, if they swarm, they're probably healthy, right? Okay, but now, do you have enough honey for the on board for the bees to make it through winter? Do you have enough pollen, bee bread? And here's the big kicker: you're going to have to get that queen mated. Well, you don't have to. Mother Nature will take care of that. Fingers crossed, though, because if they swarm at the same time they start kicking out drones, then your new virgin queen, the one that's left behind to be the new queen, she has to go on a mating flight. And to do that in the fall, has to be a decent day, good weather, and the drone congregation areas have to be filled up with hundreds of drones. So if there are not hundreds of drones around anymore, and your hive swarms, they raise a virgin queen, she goes on a mating flight. There's nobody at the dating scene. She comes back and she's not mated, or she's poorly mated, not adequately mated. That's the kicker here too. My recommendation, if you're on the borderline, if you see drones starting to be kicked out of your hive and that hive swarmed, I would work fast to get a replacement mated queen. I wouldn't rely on, I would tear down all the queen cells, all the swarm cells, because I don't know if they're going to get adequately mated since they're already killing their drones off. I would buy a mated queen and introduce a new mated queen. So those are the things that we are faced with when it comes to the fall and the conditions of your hive and if they're going to swarm. So again, I don't want to be fear mongering. I don't want to make you worried about it. I want to make you educated about it. Okay. Don't worry about it. Don't get all afraid. Calm down. You're going to be fine. But I just feel responsible to educate you that we do also have a very small percent of chance that colonies will swarm in the fall. Several of you have already told me that your bees have swarmed already this fall. We're not in the fall yet, but already in August and September. You've already told me that that's happened. So just be on alert and know that it can happen. Okay. Yeah. Well, okay. That's a good teaching on fall swarms, and I hope that's helpful for you guys to put that in your memory bank. That's going to be cool. Next week, I'm going to be teaching about bald brood. Have you seen any bald brood in your colony? Oh my gosh. I've not seen any in my colonies yet. One year I saw a lot of it, bald brood. I'm going to go into teach you guys next live stream on next Thursday about bald brood. I know you might be seeing some of that already. Big shout out to all of you that are making donations tonight. I know a lot of you made donations during my teaching, and I appreciate all of that very much. If you don't want to make a donation here on YouTube, you can always go to our website at honeybeesonline.com, and you can look on the left there. You can make a donation to the live stream. Your donations on the live stream help us keep paying the internet bill. It helps us to pay for guest speakers. Some will have, we've got some lined up for the month of September and October, and it helps us to have leverage to have giveaways. Okay. So everything we give away, not only does it cost, but it costs to ship it to you. So we're willing to put in money ourselves, but it's always good if we can have more giveaways. So anything you donate helps support the live stream and just helps the live stream go round. So I appreciate that a lot. So yeah, thank you guys for being here tonight. Super to have you all. I've got a special word tonight. Every week I give you a new word. Okay. Some of you learned about winter bees. That was diutinous bees. Last week we talked about detritus. That's all the junk on the bottom board. We call that detritus. And tonight we have another word for you, trophallaxis. Do you know what trophallaxis means? Now, if you're sharp in beekeeping, you probably know. Take a good look at it. What does it mean when we use the word trophallaxis? That's not trophalalaps. That's the mite that we hope we never get. Trophallaxis. Leave a comment if you know what it means. Okay, some of you have guessed it already. You got it. It's when bees feed each other. It's the way that bees feed each other mouth to mouth. The adult bees, they feed each other. It's called trophallaxis. So there you go. Go to your bee club. You got another word in your pocket. If you're new and you feel intimidated by all these experienced beekeepers that know all the big words, and then here you are and you're kind of new this year and you don't really know and you'd like to sound like you know something, whip out trophallaxis. That's a cool word to use. It can be intimidating. I know a lot of times when I'm working with new backyard beekeepers that are brand new, I love it. It's so refreshing because we take it for granted that we know all the words, that we know all the hive parts, but oftentimes new beekeepers don't even know what that thing is called that goes in the box and the bees build their comb on it. Oh, the frame, you mean? Yeah, the frame. You know, I get it. I was the same way when I started. You just don't know all these words. It's kind of like, wow. Okay, but I'm giving you some words that are kind of fun, little scientific words. So we got 3 of them now. I'll keep giving you a word every week. That'd be fun. I want to give a shout out to my friend Patrick. I didn't thank him, but he's always out here in the field filming. He'll be here Saturday. So big shout out to Patrick for all the great work for the videos. A lot of you like Patrick. Hopefully I can get him to do another green chair answer day. And he's a lot of fun. He got a little more comfortable on behind the camera. It takes a lot to get comfortable behind a camera, but he did great last week. I know. All right, let's jump into some question time. See what kind of questions are on you guys' mind tonight. See if I can do a good job answering your questions. Hey, Ginger. Ginger's a B Team 6 member. Good to see you here. Good evening, David and team. Can you talk about how to deal with moisture in a hive when using the honey bee kind boards in the winter? Okay, that's actually called a winter bee kind, not honey bee kind. Those are the ones that I invented. We sell thousands of those every year to beekeepers for a decade now. And okay, so talk about the moisture. We designed that candy specifically so that the moisture that is produced by the bees and the contrasting temperatures in the hive from cold to hot is excess moisture. It gets absorbed into the candy and makes it edible to the bees. That's what's so great about it. And it took us quite a long time to get that balance of how to prepare that candy so it would absorb the moisture. That's exactly what. You don't want a lot of moisture in your hive in the wintertime. You need some, but you don't need a lot. And if you do get it, you're hoping that it will drip down the walls and not off the ceiling of the hive. Yeah, that's a good question. Thank you for your donation, Austin. Appreciate it. Thanks for your super sticker. Hey, Jessica. I'm in Kentucky. 10 days ago, I lost a queen. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. That's frustrating. And they're queen cells, but I'm worried the drought we've had won't be enough drones. Should I risk it or use a nuke? I was going to overwinter. So you're thinking about you could pull the queen maybe out of that nuke box. In Kentucky, we're into September. Boy, Jessica, that's a roll of the dice. It really is. You could go either way and have an equal amount of success or an equal amount of failure. I say if you've got queen cells, why don't we go ahead and see if they can raise a queen and get one mated and hold back on that nuke, and let's fall back on that queen if we need her. Hey, Wayne, have you tried blocking just the centermost of the hive instead of the queen excluder? Gives bees faster, easier way up to the super. Let me read that again. Have you tried blocking just the centermost of the hive instead of queen excluder? Gives bees faster way. Well, I can't comprehend exactly your picture, what you're describing there, but I will say some people feel if they drill holes in their honey supers, then they can, the foragers can get back into the super faster. It's not quite how it works. When bees fly back as foragers, they hand off their payload to bees that then carry it into the super and the open cells and deposit it. The big thing that I'm worried about always is I don't want to provide any access near or closer to the honey super where bee or robber bees can get there. That's what the danger of that is. But I'm not sure what you mean by a center place, a center hole. But yeah, if they have, you want your robber bees to have to fight their way in the entrance, a smaller entrance, and then be protected by all the brood before they get up to the honey super. Hey, Jonathan, is there any significance to a hive having drones this time of the year? It just, well, sometimes if a hive is queenless, they don't kill their own drones. I always find that humorous, because even though that hive is going to not, that queen won't mate with her brothers, the drones that are in there, obviously, but they still don't kill their drones because they're queenless. And so they feel like maybe there's other hives out there that are queenless, so they don't run their own drones out. The significant means that they just haven't got to the time of the year yet where they feel that, that there's such a dearth. They don't want all those drones just sitting around eating all the honey up for winter when they don't need drones anymore. Once winter hits, they can raise new bees in the spring. That's how that kind of goes down. Hey, Wayne, another Wayne. I've heard you talk about the need for robber screens, but I noticed on your recent videos, you don't seem to have screens on your hives. Is there a reason for this? Yeah, I typically, I'm doing some other things to prevent robbing. I have been feeding my bees. Now, not everybody can do this. I know it. I know that some states do not allow this, but I do some community feeding really far away from my hives. And so that kind of draws any robbers over there and away from going into my hives. I use that technique. Also, I just watch it diligently. I'm in my hives a lot filming, and I keep a close eye on my hives too. And if I do see robbing, I will either stop feeding temporarily or I will put a robber screen on. And so right now I haven't seen any robbing. I've been watching carefully. Thank you, Fred, for your super sticker tonight. Hey, Mr. Kenny, I pulled 5 honey supers off. Wow, does that mean boxes? Wow. A hive that had 2 deep brood boxes. There was very little brood, spotty. Is it possible the queen took a break? Other hive has lots of brood. I'm glad that you're using that kind of an analysis, Mr. Kenny, because what you're seeing there is you would be tempting to say, oh, it's that time of the year. It's warm, it's dry. That's why I've got spotty brood. But now you got another hive to say, wait a minute, this hive isn't doing that. So, yeah, I like that. That's why I always say it's better to have 2 hives than 1. Better to have 5 hives than 2, because that way you can do a little better comparison. But it probably means that your queen isn't doing well. She's just not laying well because they've had plenty of food in there. You took 5 supers off. I would really watch that queen and think about replacing her. Yeah. Deanne, thanks for all your insight. We have 2 internal feeders, and today they were dry with maggots, no hive beetles, no moth. Any ideas? Yeah. Boy, I'm going to say small hive beetle. I know you said no hive beetles. Other than that, we're going to only probably think that they're going to be anything that has, flies aren't allowed in the hive. They're not allowed to stay in there. So it wouldn't be flies. It couldn't really be anything else but either small hive beetle or wax moth. Never say never. I think you just, that's I don't know. That's a mystery. I would definitely lean toward the small hive beetles. Hey, thanks for your donation. Well, there's I see 800 people, almost 900 people watching right now on my screen. But yeah, thanks for that. I appreciate that. Glad you get excited about that like the rest of us. Let's support this great teacher. Well, thank you. Hey, Brian. Had a friendly debate with a gentleman today that said there was no scientific evidence that honey actually helps with allergies, even local honey. Is this correct? Now, I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not an allergist or anything like that, so I really can't speak to that. I do know what beekeepers say. They say that if you eat honey that has a small amount of pollen from, flowers that you may be allergic to. Let's say you're allergic to ragweed and, you're eating some honey. There's a small amount of ragweed that helps inoculate you against ragweed. But I've also heard people say that is not true at all. That's not how that works. So the jury's out. I'm going to let our Beak Squad here, all of you, all 800 or 900 of you tonight, do your homework, come back, email me or something if you find a good scientific study that really says it one way or the other. That'd be good. Yeah. David, do you think different races of honeybees have a different tendency to swarm more in the fall, say Italian? Well, definitely it's not just races, but it is genetic. So in other words, there can be a genetic propensity to swarming, and that can be part of the DNA. It doesn't have to be part of a specific race. Okay. A specific race is, I know we say that, but it's hard to keep that tight anymore because of the way we breed queens and all. Queens mate with 20, 40 drones. It's really hard to keep a pure line like Italians only and all that. But definitely it is a genetic trait. And yes, it can be when I see a hive that's swarming a lot, I oftentimes think it's genetics. Good question. Thank you, Matthew, for your donation and all those that I've missed. I appreciate all your donations tonight. I might be able to pay that internet bill this month. I'm kidding. Hey, Sydney, is swarming a form of brood break? Not necessarily, no. I mean, it is because they have to raise a new queen. There will be a gap of about 2 to 3 weeks in brood. So it would be a brood break, absolutely. But I don't know if the bees are doing it for that. I think they're doing it for the other reasons of reproducing. But it would qualify for a brood break, which would qualify for a good mite treatment without having to use treatment. Absolutely. And I recommend you do that sometimes. Put your queen in a cage. Have a brood break. After you catch a swarm, should you replace the queen with a younger queen? You know, I think that's a good thought. I'm a little worried when I pick up a swarm, you know, because I don't know how old that queen is. That's an old queen, right? Normally, a hive will replace her if it's in the spring. You'll see that happen quite frequently. And they will replace, once she starts laying in a new location, they'll raise new queen. But if not, yeah, you might be better off to replace that queen if you don't know where it came from. She might be in her 3rd or 4th year, might not make it through winter. Hi, Janelle. Why do my hives have a strong smell right now? Oh, I'm sure the chat is going to light up now. Everybody that's been beekeeping a long time knows exactly what that is. Put that in the chat. It's goldenrod. I made a video yesterday and I showed you what goldenrod looks like. And that honey has such a strong smell that you can smell 20 or 30 feet from your hive sometimes. Yeah, that goldenrod is loud. That's why it smells. Don't worry about it. Can you just give the colony more room to discourage swarming? Actually, no, you cannot. That is a misconception. There are a few times that might work under, some circumstances. Here's the deal. A lot of beekeepers in the spring say, oh, to prevent swarming, I'm going to give them 2 empty honey supers, keep them busy. They won't swarm then. That doesn't happen. A reproductive instinct, they don't care how many, they don't care how many boxes are above them. And if they're crowded in the brood area, no matter how many more boxes you give them, they're still crowded. They're crowded because of the number of bees that aren't spreading the QMP around, not necessarily the spacing. All righty. Hey, the Carolina upholster. I need some kitchen chairs reupholstered. I've heard that mated queens don't fly, but swarms leave with their mated queen. Can you elaborate? I love to elaborate on that because I know that if you're asking that, there's probably at least 500 people here might be wondering too. So the deal is a mated queen doesn't fly well because she has so many eggs in her that she's a little heavy. And I always say she's like Buzz Lightyear. She falls with style. She doesn't really fly good. When they want to swarm, they actually reduce feeding her. and they make her exercise on a treadmill. She climbs steps. She has to run 5 miles a day to get the weight off. I mean, I'm exaggerating, but it is kind of that way, actually. They have to get her ready to fly. And they do that. They vibrate around her. They nudge her around. They don't feed her as much. That's why when you buy a queen, some of you buy queens or packages, and when you'll accidentally open up the wrong side of the queen cage and the queen flies away, and you're like, oh my gosh, I just bought a mated queen and she flew away. Because she hasn't been fed well, and she's a little thinner. She can fly now. Yeah, that is true. I love questions about queens. I've spent so long raising queens. Hey, Chase from Wisconsin, lost 2 queens after using Formic Pro, and the question went away before I got it read. Each hive has capped queen cells. Is it too late letting them make their own, or should I look for a mated queen? Yeah, I don't know about Wisconsin, Chase. If they've got queen cells, I would let them try to raise them, because if you introduce another mated queen and you don't get all those queen cells torn down, they will kill your mated queen, because they're banking on the cells. They're banking on those. You might try it. That's why I always say have a nuke on hand with the queen that you can grab if you need one. Hey, David, ran a full hive inspection last week. All looks good. All queens accounted for. How often should I fully inspect top and bottom this time of the year? I would reduce it greatly. I mean, it sounds like you got a good handle on it. By this time, things aren't going to be terrible for you, I don't think. So I would just not go crazy if you don't want to get in there and make a mess of trying to get that thing robbed out. So be careful about that. You can definitely maybe reduce it. Yeah. Thank you for your donation there. Appreciate it. Yeah, sometimes you got to cowboy up and make those decisions whether you keep inspecting or not. That's kind of tough. If you leave honey on your main, do you still offer 1-to-1 fall candy boards when temperatures freeze? I'm located in central Maine. If you leave honey. So what I like to do is I always leave one honey super on just for the bees. And so even though I feed them, I don't ever take that honey super off. It's above 2 deeps. And if the honey supers I take off, I don't feed my bees anything when I'm gathering honey up. So that's kind of my go-to way. Hello, EL. Thanks for your super sticker tonight. Appreciate that. Hey, Brian Hill. Good to see you tonight. Thanks for your donation, buddy. I've watched you where the bees are flying over a plate of pollen. I started to feed my bees pollen the same way. I started off with just a cup, then 2 to 3, and now 4 a day. Is it possible to feed too much? No, I don't think so. Not at all. No, I wouldn't worry. I put pollen out like you did, Brian, and my bees are not touching it. They're bringing a lot of goldenrod pollen in right now, but boy, they're going through the sugar water that I've been giving them. They won't touch the pollen for me doing the same way you're doing it. Yeah, that's a good question. All right, we're going to be having a giveaway in just a few minutes here on our bee suit. I'm giving away a bee suit that I bought from, oh gosh, help me out here, Foxhound. I always say that wrong. Fox Bee. Somebody put it in the comments. How do Foxhound? I know it's Foxhound. I'm gonna wait until somebody puts the right in the. All right, I'll watch for it. All right, but anyway, I'm giving away that bee suit here in a little bit, and I got it off Adam down there, and it's a great bee suit, and it's going to be a full suit, ventilated, and I've been wearing it, and it really is ventilated. Wow, Foxhound, man, oh, yeah, there it is. Foxhound Bee Company. Okay. Foxhound Bee Company. Yeah. I hope we got that right. Sorry, Adam. I always get the name of his company wrong, but there you go. Everybody's putting their version of what they think it is. I see the Foxhound bees, Foxhound honey, Foxhound everything. Something to do with Foxhound, but it's a big company Adam started. I like Adam. He helps me a lot in my field tests that we offer at EAS every year. He's great. All right, let's get back to some question time. Tammy, is it time now to be seeing summer bee die off? If not, when do they switch to winter bees? We don't know what triggers winter bees, diutinous bees, but we do know that it has something to do with either a loss of foraging, like flowers are drying up. It could be that cooler nights. It could be lesser daylight. I think it could be all of those things. But you just have to watch. I usually see that for me here, Tammy, it happens about anytime now in central Illinois. They'll start. Bees they're raising now are going to be bees of winter physiology. Mr. Joe Ellis, thank you for your super sticker tonight as well. Appreciate it, guys. Have you guys heard about the new superfood that a lot of reports have been, a lot of news articles on the superfood? They've been finding how to use sterols, how to make sterols in a lab. And, hopefully that will come out next year. I interviewed the main scientists and leaders of that. I'm hoping to publish that video pretty soon. Hey, Bruno, will that suit stop yellow jackets from stinging you? I am not a yellow jacket expert. I can't tell you how long their stingers are, if that would make it through the suit or not. I would ask somebody wiser than me before you tackled it. It's Ryan Stark. If he's in the comments, if he's in the chat tonight, Ryan is a beekeeper and a pest control guy. But yeah. All right. New YouTube member. Yeah, you can always join my YouTube channel. It's a Beak Squad ambassador or a novice nectar, and that's a way to support the channel too. Hello, Dan. Good to see you tonight. Another B Team 6 member. I suggest you remove. Oh, wait a minute, David. You suggested I remove my top feeder from a smaller hive under attack by robbers with a robber screen. I started community feeding, and it relieved the pressure on the colony. Well, that's good. It does help, doesn't it? Yeah, I know. It works, right? Yeah. I've got a lot of comments I can make. I'm screening them in my head though. But I thought, yeah, people that rob that aren't really robbers, but they rob to stay alive. You shouldn't never steal, but some people have to steal to live. But if you give people like that food and a place to live, they won't steal. Bees are that way. Whew. Hey, Mary Hocott. Thank you for your super sticker. Appreciate that tonight. All right, we'll be answering our I'll be giving that suit away in about 5 minutes, okay? So just stay with me here. Hello, John Harvey. You just brought up about hatching a queen off at this time of the year. What's the odds of getting a mated queen back in a hive? I would say it's pretty good. It's pretty strong. The way I used to have a figure that I threw out there. I didn't have any science behind it. It was more anecdotal, but I would say 90% in the spring, and it's like 80%, first part of summer, 50% toward the end of summer, 20% first part of fall. I'm just making stuff up, but it just that's how it goes down. The percentage of success of getting her mated and back in the hive. One thing, it's a lot of stuff out there that's hungry to eat things this time of the year. Dragonflies flying around eating our queens that are on mating flights. And birds, there's a lot of stuff out there getting ready for winter besides bees. Trash hunter dumpster. All right. Thank you for all your videos. I took your online courses. Well, thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. Hope you learned good stuff there. Hey, Lacey, we're having a knotweed flow right now. Yeah, I know. It's helpful to continue one-to-one feeding while they're bringing in the knotweed. You could take a pause. Let them go for what's out there. Yeah. And then put it on when you see a flow ending. Yeah. I don't really get too excited about feeding until I know it's kind of ending. Well, look at there. Tharp family farm. Been a member of the YouTube for 3 months. I'm in Texas. It's high 80s. Yeah. Same here today. 86 for me. Need to do a split. Would you just buy a new queen and let the other hive go, so I can keep all resources with the original hive, or split resources as well and split? That's another good question. Man, it all depends, doesn't it? I would have to come down there and kind of look at all your frames, take a look at all the bees and everything, and get familiar with your climate down there. But I would definitely think that I don't want to split any bees to try to make more bees this time of the year. I'll do that in the spring. That's my go-to method. Thank you guys for all your kind comments tonight. Have you seen a large amount of propolis in your hives? One hive I had a goop of it on my bottom board. 3 frames were stuck to it on the bottom. Oh, a B Team 6 member sent me a photo of what you just described. And I was amazed at a large clump of propolis on the bottom board. It wasn't small beetle slime. It was legitimately, it looked like to me a large amount of propolis. And I think maybe they were trying to cover up something. They use it to cover up pathogens. Something was down there they needed to coat with that. That's part of their immune system, is to use that propolis to kill pathogens. Hey, thank you for your super there, Mauro. Appreciate it. Very kind of you. All right, we got 1 minute left before our giveaway. Troy, how are you tonight? When should I take the rubber screen off and just put an entrance reducer? Oh, rubber screen, okay. And just put an entrance reducer on. That's a common question. It's going to be you making that decision based on what you see in the going on in the entrance. If you think you're in the clear, take it off, watch it carefully. If you're not, put it back on. Hey, Katie, thank you for your super sticker. Appreciate that. One more question, then we'll have our suit giveaway, okay? Thomas Long, should I put the entrance reducer back in when I install mouse guards? No, I don't think. It depends on your mouse guard. Most of them are pretty small. They have little holes in them, whatever. Bees can go in and out, but mice can't. I think that'd be fine. I don't think you need to reduce it. Let that be your entrance reducer. And thank you, Mark, for that super sticker. Okay, if you just joined us, I'm going to give you a second here to go into the comments and put in hashtag prize if you want to win a chance to win the bee suit tonight. It's a fully ventilated bee suit, okay? And it is from Foxhound Bee Company. And I love mine that I bought. It's hanging up right over there. I wear it when I do my mite treatments with a solid vaporization. I have to put a lot of boards in my hives to, cover up the screens and all. So bees get agitated. I'm glad I got a suit. And so that's great. Robbie, put the picture of that bee suit back up there. I'll show it to you again. Look at that. I want to buy some of these patches. I always love patches, and it's got a lot of places you can put patches, a lot of pockets. I found pockets I didn't know I had. Okay. And I did get a round. They make a round bee hat for it. And I definitely like the round one. So I'm enjoying my round one. But yeah, let's go ahead and have our giveaway and see who will win the bee suit. Oh, one qualification. You need to live in the lower 48 states, okay? It's too difficult for us to try to ship these abroad. So if you win something and you live outside the 48 states, we'll definitely try to. Oh, there's Adam's website, Foxhound Bee Company. There you go. So if you don't win, you can always buy a suit from him. I appreciate that. Yeah. Give him a little plug. This is not a paid promotion, by the way. All right, let's do it, Robbie. Let's see who will win tonight. The bee suit. It is really a good bee suit. I'm really shocked how ventilated it is. It really works well. Yeah. All right, let's let her roll. Over 900 people hoping to win this suit tonight. They're on the edge of their seat. I am too. I should have put. Oh, Richard. Richard is doing a waggle dance in his living room. Don't knock the lamp over, Richard. Calm down. Yeah, way to go, Richard. Hey, email us within 24 hours. Don't let time go by. And the email is right at the bottom of the screen, beaksquadwinner@gmail.com. And email us, Richard. You got that? Don't forget. Some of you have forgotten to email us until a month later, and we don't even know what you want anymore. So don't let that go by like that. That puts us in a little bit of a bind, okay? Well, congratulations again. If you do want to buy a suit that I love, it is at Foxhound Bee Company. Look it up on the internet, and if you can check it out. They have a lot of different kinds. You can type in sting stopper, and you're going to get, if you Google that, you'll get onto the website where you can look at those suits. So do be protective. I'm surprised. I made a video where I tested some bees to see what effect smoking bees have to make them either gorge or not gorge, And a lot of people said in my YouTube comments that they don't use smoke at all. And I'm like, wow. I have no idea how you people do that. I'm not faulting you for it. I don't hate you for it, but you saw me leave comments like, well, good for you, but I'd have it ready. I'd have it going just in case. Okay. I mean, you never know when something may go wrong, and you would have wished you had that smoker. So, man, have that smoker ready. Gosh, I would think that'd be real important. But how you do it without smoke? To make that video, I did not use any smoke. And the bees were all in my way. I couldn't even grab a frame. I was struggling. The bees were all like, "Yee, what are you doing?" And boy, smoke sure helps me when I work bees. All right, let's tackle some more questions you guys have. Awesome. Very good questions tonight. Here to help you guys. Do we encourage swarming by feeding? Who's to say? I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, if there's a nectar flow, aren't they feeding just as much on a heavy nectar flow? I think it possibly could, because, we always say in the fall, when there is a nectar flow, there's a propensity to swarm. It could, but it's a catch-22, right? If I don't feed my bees now, they're going to die of starvation. From a dearth, they won't be able to raise bees of winter physiology, and my bees are going to get too cold in the winter and die. There is a balance. I know one thing kind of does sometimes mess up the other thing. I admit that, but I've just found a happy medium for me where I can feed them and take my chances. Yeah. I'd rather come out of winter with a lot of bees. Hi, Dave. Is it okay to feed 1-to-1 or 2-to-1 at the same time? I'm in Illinois using one of your feeders. Absolutely, it is. That's fine. 1-to-1 or 2-to-1, 2 parts sugar, 1 part water, 1 part sugar is fine. That won't hurt a thing. Let the bees decide what they want to do with it, right? Yeah. A lot of people do that, actually. All right. If my hives are becoming honey bound, should I stop feeding them? Hey, Jennifer, that is a good question. Probably. Yeah, I think so. I would. I definitely would. I would reduce it. I still want to give them a little bit to raise bees when they're physiology, but I would definitely reduce it. Hey, if you would take a minute right now, someone in the chat said we're getting close to hitting a certain number of likes. So if you can hit the thumbs up button, the like button, down below to get to 500 likes. There you go. That's what I wondered, what was being talked about in the chat over there. Let's try to get to 500 likes. Hit the like button, please. YouTube evaluates videos based on you hitting the like button, and they'll send it to more beekeepers that are new and never heard of David Burns. They don't know my teachings or anything. The more you hit the like button, the more YouTube says, "Oh, let's send that video to other beekeepers." So it helps other beekeepers. Okay. All right, let's have some more questions. Andy, I got 6 hives. One has food on every frame, and a few have a lot of brood, but no food. Another month before I need to really worry here in central Georgia. But what's going on? I use a community feeder. Oh, well, some of your weaker hives can't get to the community feeder. They don't have a big foraging force. It's always the bigger hives that win at a community feeder. But it's better to feed like an internal feeder in the fall, or internal top feeders like we make or sell. Those are good. But yeah, you're going to have to really watch that and see how they're doing and try to feed them from the top. I think no food. Yeah. You think Georgia would have still a lot of stuff going on, but I'm not familiar with central Georgia. Good luck with that, Andy. Hope that works out. Will a bivouac appear in the same place again? Absolutely. By the way, a bivouac is a good word. A bivouac is when a hive swarms. It's the first place that they land. It's a military term that means setting up a temporary place before you go to the main place. And a bivouac is that first setting of the swarm before they eventually go to their new home. So yeah, they leave pheromones. I've seen it a lot in the spring. In cedar trees, another swarm will land right in the same spot the last one did. That's a good question and a good word. And it's spelled correctly, too. Good for you. Hey, Tom, if a queen cell gets inverted by the beekeeper, will the queen inside die? Not necessarily. We worry about that because they are in a cocoon. They're developing their wings. So we wonder if we rotate them out of that vertical position, what kind of damage will occur. I'm going to say don't do it. Don't do it. It's dangerous. It could kill her. It could cause her wings to get stuck in the wrong place in there. It's not made to be moved. So be careful when you move your frames around if there's queen cells on them too. Okay, how often do you ever clean the detritus out of the bottom screen board, or do you just let the bees do it? Thanks so much. I like that. I want to make a video. I want to make a detritus video. I've got a board collecting detritus, and I've done, I think I've done 4 or 5 asolic treatments. I want to pull that out and just take a microscope. I've got a little handheld. I bought it off Amazon. And when I speak a lot around the country, and when I teach, I have a presentation where I encourage people to use this little little magnifying glass. It's like a microscope anyway, electronic microscope. Anyway, I use it. I'm going to use it to really look in on all that detritus. And you can see so much. You see bee legs. Hopefully I'll see a whole bunch of the dead viral destructors. I don't really clean it out myself. Coming out of winter on my solid bottom boards, I will, to help the bees out. But screen bottom boards, you don't have to worry about it. But even the ones that I've got that are solid bottom boards, bees take care of that this time of the year. That's a good question. Hey, Anthony, good to see you. What determines which half of the colony leaves with the old queen in the swarm? That work has been done by Dr. Tom Seeley in his book, Democracy. It's like Hive in the Democracy of Honeybees. And that's a great book to get if you don't have it. Get that. It's a winter read. You got to get that. He spent a big part of his life determining this by marking bees, and found that it is made up of younger bees. They're all ages, but big part are younger bees. Obviously, you want just like you would want younger people to help you start a business or start farming or lift heavy equipment. You want younger people, right? So bees are the same way. Yeah. But you'll get a mixture of everything. But that book talks about that age breakdown. Very good question. Oh, we need 10 more likes to make a 500. Some of you watch on TV, and it's a little harder to subscribe or hit the like button on your TV, but you can move the up button and do all that and get us to 500. You got 4 minutes to get to 500 people. Hey, Jared, I have a lot of brood larvae right now. Well, that's good. Is that normal, knowing they're getting, wait a minute, I have a lot of brood larvae. I wonder if you mean drone, because you say, is that normal, knowing they're getting kicked out in the winter? Yes, they'll keep raising drones right up to the point where they decide not to. And when they decide not to, they're going to drag all the pupae out, the larvae and pupae of drones. And all of you guys that have not seen that, you're going to email me, and you're going to be on live stream, and you're going to be saying, David, something's wrong. There's all these pupae on my bottom board. They're dragging out the bees. Why are they doing that? They're drones. They don't want to spend any more energy feeding or raising or keeping drones warm in the brood area. Yeah, that's a good question. I just let bees do it. Yeah. Oh, I think we got to 500, it says. Thank you. Well, great, guys. 500 likes. Wow. I've always desired to be liked. Not really. I gave up that a long time ago. I've had enough people that haven't liked me that I no longer have to be liked by people, in case you didn't know that already. You can't be on you can't be on YouTube and have an ego problem. You can't be on YouTube this long and worry about what people think about you. All right. How is your round hive going? It is empty. It is right outside this wall here. It died over the winter last year. So what did it make it? 2 winters, I think. I couldn't treat it. I couldn't take care of it. It was not an easy hive to manage. So they succumbed to winter and dying and all that stuff. It was pretty though. It's kind of neat, wasn't it? I'm surprised they lived that long. Yeah, if you don't treat for mites, they don't make it past 2 or 3 years usually. Hello, Mary Ellen. Just extracted fall honey, and it's like molasses. I wonder if, oh, here you go. So dark that you can't see through it. Is this an issue? Did we spin it too long or too fast? No, I don't think the color has anything to do with your harvest method. I think it has to do with what the bees were on. Buckwheat. Buckwheat is dark, right? Buckwheat is really dark. Do you have buckwheat in your area? what's another? There's a lot of different kinds of dark honey. I forget all the names of them now, but do a little research and find out what makes dark honey. It sounds like your bees found it. One more question for tonight. Wow. Running out of time. Carla, does one winter bee kind board last all winter? No, absolutely not. For me, don't panic. Calm down. Get ready. I've got some really large colonies that I overwinter, and I keep large all winter. It's my technique. They can eat one per week. They can eat 4 pounds of sugar and protein and all per week. I know. Not always. Some of them may go a month and not eat it all, but some of them eat one a week. Wow. We have a recipe that we include on how to refill it. And also, Sheri and I made a video last year. It's got a lot of views on how you make that on your own stove. We show you how to use our recipe and cook it. We don't keep things secret. We're not trying to make you buy things. We're not trying to make you buy more. You know, we know that you're going to buy one and probably make your own and do all that stuff and make us poor, but that's fine. If that's what you, I'm kidding, but if that's what you need to do, I don't care, fine. That's cool. But we do want to help you be successful. So we do have a recipe and a video exactly on how to make those. Yeah. I'm going to tell your friend, this was great tonight. Oh my gosh. I can't thank you guys enough. Carrie, Robbie, and Jessica, and Patrick, great team of people to have at my side to help me do all of this for you guys. Always give them a round of applause too. Most important person here tonight is you, and you're the hero in all this. I'm here just to help you guys be better beekeepers. I can't tell you how much I just think you're great. I love you to death. I'm here as a life coach too. I'm here to pat you on the back and say, I got you. We got this covered. Okay. It's cool. We're working hard for you guys. And it's good that you see how much work we're putting into helping you become a good beekeeper. Okay. Don't feel bad if you made some mistakes. I made plenty of mistakes this year. I got plenty more to make in the future. It's okay. We're going to get through this together. Well, thanks for watching, guys. And I'll see you in the next video.